Johannesburg.
Now joining me in studio to help us unpack this further is Gunjalo Center for Development Research at Dumisani Hlophe, the national spokesperson for the Democratic Alliance, Phumzile Van Dam, joins me via Skype from Cape Town. ANC's Deputy General Secretary, Jesse Duarte, is also in studio with me. And of course, digital marketing strategist, initiates integrated solutions, William Seyama, also in studio with me. Thank you very much for your time and good evening to you all. William, let's start with you as well. Here we have Facebook, involved Twitter as well, a post that was posted 2 weeks ago, removed. Screen grab is then taken, and then today Twitter is a buzz with these comments made. What do you make of what transpired today?
The interesting thing is, when you look at the kind of series of events, from a trending point of view, this topic actually trended from 7 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. For straight 10 hours, it was the #1 trending topic. There is something interesting as well about it, because the first 7 hours, the trending phrase was PW Botha. And then in the last 3 hours, the trending phrase was Kohle Barnard, the hashtag. What you can make from this is that people were talking about the contents of the post for the first 7 hours, as it were. And I suspect because Kohle Barnard apologized, and Musi was also saying she's going to be disciplined and all those sorts of things, people turned their attention to Kohle Barnard herself. So that's a bit of a, the series of events from a Twitter perspective. And it's interesting that it was trending on Twitter and yet it started on Facebook, which actually shows you that Twitter is such a powerful tool when it comes to current affairs. Absolutely, absolutely.
Diane Kohle Barnard is in the news all the time of late, of course, given that the National Police Commissioner has been in the news. We get the opposition's view, has been speaking very strongly. There was the saga with the SMS that was sent to her as well from the police commissioner. And now this. What do you make of this? Is this a silly mistake which she's now being hammered for?
Look, I think she's being judged on the principle that she has set up. The principle #1, if you look into the SMS that she went to town with in relation to Commissioner Riapirega, I think she went beyond the parameters of what is that SMS. I think it was one-on-one to say that, look, I'm here, I'm strong, and I'm going to withstand all this criticism. And I think that's what she's doing. But I think she politicized it extremely. But it's understandable because she's within a political space. So I think the reaction to the Facebook update that she shared in the last 2 weeks is primarily based on the principle that she has established. And secondly, there is this sense in most cases where whenever an ANC person is alleged to have done something wrong, the immediate reaction by herself and her colleagues in the DA is that they must resign. They never said that, so-and-so must be subjected through the disciplinary processes. So, whatever has happened to the end reaction, the negative reaction to what she had said, and the association with that particular update, from where I'm sitting, is within the scope of what she as an individual, but also as part of the collective that the DA have established in the political circles.
Mr. Water, when politicians are involved, it will, of course, become very political. Is it fair that she stepped down because of this? She said it's a mistake and has apologized since it became public.
Well, I think that Diane Kohle Barnard is a very senior member of the DA. Certainly, she would be within the inner circle of the DA. She's normally appointed to its most important structures. She leads their safety and security portfolio as its shadow. So she's not somebody who's considered to be a lightweight in the DA. Our observation of her is that she sticks to the party line quite rigidly. And so therefore, this is not a simple mistake. She's articulating her party's policy on matters. And there is in our view, there is a nostalgic drift within the DA towards what used to be in the apartheid days must be the same as it is now. No recognition for change. And unfortunately, I think to have chosen to support somebody as horrendous as P.W. Botha could not have been a mistake. She looked at that tweet. It was a deliberate tweet back. She used her implements. She wrote her sentence, and she read what the other person said, and then she responded. And really, to try to smudge it off as an individual's mistake, in this sense, I think, is somewhat unfair to her. She is a political animal within her party. She is articulating the stance of the DA on matters pertaining to progress in our country, and in particular, when black people, irrespective of which political persuasion they come from, are employed. There is always this barb about the quality, and that is the P.W. Botha stance. There are a number of his speeches which show that. So, to us, she is articulating our party's position.
Plenty calls coming in on this matter. Thokozani, you're in Sasolburg. Good evening.
Okay, good evening, ma'am.
Yes, your thoughts, Thokozani?
You know, what I'd like to say is that I think as a country, we are not going to solve any problem each time when somebody says something and then the issue of race is at the center. If this was said by a black person, it was not going to be a story as it is at the moment. You know, when black people are saying something, you know, which is maybe not so good, it is regarded as a freedom of speech or a freedom of expression, and then people are saying that everybody is entitled to their opinion. Apparently, it was not that 100% bad. There are good things that we can say about apartheid government. If you look at the infrastructure that they've developed and many systems that were in place until the ANC took over. Yes, apartheid was said was racism, but not in all respect. Even the current leadership of ANC is still doing some of the things that are found that were there during apartheid time.
All right, Thokozani, let's see if I'll get my guests to respond to your thoughts. Thokozani there in Sasolburg. Thulani, you're in Johannesburg. Good evening to you.
Good evening, how are you?
Well, thanks. Thulani, your thoughts?
This of all remove.
All right, Thulani, let's try to sort out your line. Can't make out what you're saying there. Dumisani, your thoughts to what Thokozani from Sasolburg was saying?
Look, I think Thokozani has a point, because what Thokozani is saying is that there's a narrative for every political party in this country. And in most cases, we react and make a commentary to what political parties do or say based on the existing narrative. So the existing narrative of the ANC is that they are liberators, they are the messiahs, they freed us, and therefore they'll take a... So anything that anyone within the ANC says which does not relate to that, it somehow gives us to comment based on that particular narrative. So if you look at the DA, the unfortunate thing about the DA is that the National Party is dead, you know, it's buried. So the National Party carried that narrative of being this apartheid party that you know, construed, you know, privileges for white people. So that narrative has shifted to the Democratic Alliance. It did not help that Tony Leon, a few years ago, he had a campaign called the Fight Back, which in one way or the other, it entrenched the narrative that he is a party that has taken the position that was driven by the National Party to protect the privileges of the minority. So what's going to happen is that when when she says what she has assumed to have said in relation to this Twitter, you know, update, it falls within that narrative. It also falls within the narrative that says the DA remained the protector of the white privilege that was accumulated during apartheid. It's something that if they are not into it, they are supposed to be conscious about it and not say and never say things related to that. I think from where I'm sitting, I think the sentiments that she has identified with are quite entrenched within, you know, within the DA membership. It's just that this time around they are in the public space. But I think there's a significant entrenched attitude within that space, because this is not the first time. There are a few examples that we can cite. that fall within this narrative.
More calls coming in, but a quick one here, William. You'll remember that the reason why she reposted this post, it was talking about the situation with the Hawks and Johan Boysen, and that's why she had retweeted this, but of course saying that she missed the PW Botha bid, but it's not a long post at all. At first glance, you can see PW Botha on the line, but what it's done now, we're now talking about the PW Botha section of the post and no longer about the Hawks.
I think what this demonstrates is what I choose to call the law of majority. You see, on platforms like Twitter, those who have the numbers will have the loudest of voice. And it comes through here clearly. The interesting thing about this as well is people also miss the fact, some anyway, that she's not even the one who actually said this. And we've forgotten completely about the originator of the post itself. We are focusing on her, which also speaks to the fact that this is now being swayed by the power of politics, because we're now focusing on her on the basis that she is from the DA, as opposed to saying, okay, the originator of this post, why did he say this? Why shouldn't we be attacking him as well? We've kind of forgotten about him, and now we're focusing on Diane, as though she is the one who
posted. Let's for us to, in a moment, move to whether or not retweets and reposts are in fact endorsements of the sentiments that are shared. I do have Phumzile Van Dam with us now via Skype, joining us from Cape Town. Phumzile, thank you very much for your time. What do you make of all of this? Of course, we've been told by the leader of your party that there will be disciplinary action taken against the MP Kohle Barnard. What do you make of how it's all unfolded, and what is the disciplinary action likely to look like?
Firstly, thank you for finally including me in the debate. It's been going on for 15 minutes, and the debate of the DA, and I'm only being given an opportunity to respond to several things.
Just a moment, Phumzile. The Skype connection is the reason why I'm only coming to you now, but it's also failing us at this point. Let's sort it out, and then I'll come back to you and give you an equal opportunity to speak for yourself. I delayed it because of that very reason, and we're still struggling, unfortunately, but we'll sort out that connection and get the DA's voice in. Phumzile Van Dam, the spokesperson for the Democratic Alliance. So let's just come back to you as well. The point that was made by Thokozani in Cecilburg, saying that, I suppose also accusing the ANC of being similar to the apartheid government.
I doubt that very much, and I think Thokozani is simply protecting probably his own political party. But this thing is not about race. This thing is about recognition that our country has moved forward, that since 1994 up to now there have been great achievements made in this country, that we have a democracy which is really firm. People have freedom of speech. We have delivered quite extensively in terms of social needs of our people. The World Economic Forum report on the 30th of September puts us in the first 10 countries that really have achieved quite a lot in terms of developmental status. Now, you see, our argument is that here is a member of parliament who is in a democratic parliament. And whether or not a statement is made by a citizen who is a racist and posts a statement that is really quite racist, when an MP chooses to respond positively to that racist statement, it is the same sentiment that is being posited.
So a repost is endorsement? It's
endorsement. And we all use Twitter, we all use Facebook, we use thumbs up, we use all different mechanisms. It is endorsement.
Okay, let me please hold you there, Mr. Watt. I'm going to bring Phumzile Van Dam back in again. I'm told your Skype connection is much better now. Phumzile, please go ahead. Your thoughts on how it all unfolded today and what action will be taken against Mr. Kohle Barnard.
The Skype connection has been clear on my side the entire time. But anyway, to respond to the points raised by several of the people on your panel. Firstly, Diane was not communicating DA policy. That is why the party has taken strong action against her. That is why the leader has referred it to the Federal Legal Commission and said that disciplinary action will be taken against Diane Kohle Barnard because it is not DA policy. We do not view PW Botha in a positive light. And then there was a comment by a panelist there saying, she was expressing a comment by what is a racist party and racism is entrenched in the DA. said on several occasions that the DA is not a racist party. We've said that we have no space for racist people in the party, and in fact taken action against people who have been racist in the DA. We take action against our members when they do wrong things. We exercise accountability, which is something the ANC should learn from us.
All right, but let me get some responses to that, Dan. Again, not the greatest of connections. Perhaps we'll try to get Phumzile on the phone line so that we can ensure that your view is coming across fully. But Phumzile, what do you make of the bits that you could have gotten from Phumzile?
Look, I think right now the DA has got two possibilities. In fact, there are three issues that they need to deal with, and I don't think she's covering that. The first one is that Mmusi Maimane has to affirm his authority. I mean, this puts a serious question mark in terms of his authority as a leader of the DA. Secondly, he is faced with a challenge to affirm, to discipline Kohle Barnard, to seem to be fair, to be objective, and yet retain the integrity, if any, of the DA. Which is something that, you know, he has to do. But he also has to determine and say to the whole people that follow the DA and everybody else who's concerned about the politics of this country, to say that, look, indeed, he is a genuine leader of the DA and is in charge, and the DA is not the DA of a white minority, but you know, of South African as a whole. So
what would be the charge exactly? That she wasn't meticulous enough, or perhaps a poor social media conduct?
No, not necessarily. You see, we are going to make a mistake if we are going to limit it to the social media, because at the heart of what she has identified with in that tweet is an entrenched racist attitude and you know, belief and the way of thinking within the Democratic Alliance. That's the biggest charge. So if you're going to cut out everything, it's not that she shared a racist Facebook update. It's just that she projected the DA for what many South Africans, particularly black, have suspected the DA to be. And in the process, she has brought the Democratic Alliance into disrepute. That's the biggest charge. Look, and in most cases, when you do analysis, we tend to get caught up in the events instead of the bigger issues. So let's not get simply into the update by itself. It's the bigger issue of what South Africans, the majority thinks of the DA, and what are the DA members saying.
Bringing in more callers here. Waruna is in Phosphorus. Good evening.
Good evening, I'm Saruna.
Yes, Saruna, good evening.
Good evening.
Your thoughts on the matter? You live?
Absolutely. I would like to comment. You know, Diana should have thought about the integrity of her integrity first, and also the code of conduct as a public figure. You know, as a public figure, you are a role model. You know, and we have come a long way to be where we are. And now DA is now trying to protect you. As you could see, that other woman, is it Phumzile, who was trying to say that they're going to do a disciplinary procedure against the perpetrator. You know, we saw this coming, you know, because DA, it has been fooling the people all the time, but they have reformed from the white party. You know,
Saruna, let me get Phumzile to respond to your questions directly. Phumzile, coming back to you, again, will you be, of course, expelling Diane Kohle Barnard from the party? And as somebody who occupies a senior position within the party itself, you said there will be disciplinary action, but will you be letting her go?
So, as you all know, when such matters arise in organizations, there's due process. There's processes that have to be followed. So that is why it has been referred to the Federal Legal Commission, who will then convene a panel, draw up a charge sheet, and then the process will begin. I can't what that outcome will be. That independent body will have to decide what the sanction is for what Diane has done.
Why did it take so long? This post was up 2 weeks ago. The apology only came thereafter, of course, after somebody had indicated that, in fact, she should remove it. The apology is only coming much later. So would the apology have come if the screen grab was never taken and it never emerged on Twitter?
I certainly hadn't seen the post until this morning. I mean, we don't, as a party, I certainly don't go around checking every single public representative's social media accounts to see what they posted. So when it did emerge, she apologized. And when the party leadership was alerted, we immediately took action.
And what action is that exactly? To say that there will be a disciplinary process?
There will be a disciplinary process. That's how it works. That's how the rule of law works. That's how labor law requires. That's what it requires. So there will be a disciplinary process. She'll be allowed to make representations. And then once that process is complete, a sanction will be handed down. That is how it works in all organizations. You don't just wake up and decide someone is fired. It doesn't work like that.
More calls coming in. Anonymous, you're in the Eastern Cape. Good evening. Short and sharp, please.
Hello, you?
Great, thanks, Anonymous. Your thoughts?
No, man, I just think these are one of the political tricks, because she's not the originator of the tweet or message. The only thing that the ANC is looking now is the looks of the coming up elections, because this really is not the one who originated the SMS.
All right, Anonymous, not the greatest line either. Thank you very much for your thoughts. William, again, going back to the reposting, retweeting, that being an endorsement, if perhaps there was a have a look at this post, would that be good enough, or just don't go there if there's so much controversy associated with the post?
I suppose all the public figures should know this by now. If any post is of the nature that it doesn't represent your views, don't engage, because she didn't have to. She did it by choice. And in so doing, she left it up to everybody else who's on social media, and now this thing has blown out beyond the social media space, as it were. She left it to all of us now to kind of read between the lines about where she is at insofar as the issue of apartheid. She should have known better, and I think, as Ms. Jessie has rightly said, to keep away from it if she didn't support that view. And it is the case, as we have seen, because this is not the first one within the political sphere, as it were. We know that DJ's Boo got into trouble because he reposted something that was put up using a Forbes magazine cover. So, you know, it is along the same lines where public figures specifically should know better.
Mr. Watts, of course, as the ANC, you, of course, are using this to your advantage, as any political party would as well. But there was a lot more that she said in the post. She kicked off the post about or rather Paul Kirk, who posted this about Johan Boysen, then P.W. Botha, but then she went on to call your members, your leaders, ANC rogues. Are you not perhaps offended by that more than the P.W. Botha bit?
Well, I think we you know, she calls us that even in Parliament. So this is Diane Kohle Barnard vintage. But I just want to make one point, if you don't mind. During the apartheid era, many black South Africans supported the apartheid regime. And it is not surprising to us that even today, many black South Africans would support a party like the DA for particular benefits. But the short-sightedness of that is that they are supporting a party with a very deep, core-rooted racism within it. That's the DA's anchor line. Whether Diane Kohle Barnard calls our leadership rogues or not is not a race issue. It is not something that we are concerned about. However, she consistently, as do other members of her party, refer to people who have been given positions who are black as not adequate to do the job. And that is genuinely the manner in which P.W. Botha thought. So they can't deny that they are in fact following the same line. And what I find unacceptable, I must say, is that we still have in our country apologists for the apartheid regime. Whether they're black apologists or white apologists, they remain apologists. That was an era where many people suffered a great deal, where we are still having to do the reconstruction of that era.
Phumzile, final thoughts from you quickly. We are out of time. Race again has reared its ugly head from this particular post. How do you piece it all together and I suppose tell your supporters that in fact you're not a party that supports the likes of Botha?
You know, it's like I said earlier on, you know, the ANC's narrative in order to deal with how quickly the DA is growing, how we're eating into areas that they governed, is to spread this narrative that the DA is a racist party, because they actually can't attack us on our record of governance, because we deliver the best services, we deliver great services to poor people. So they just spread this thing that the DA is a racist party. And it's actually, they can continue to spread it because it is untrue, and the DA will continue to grow in all markets, including the black community.
Jacques, you're a final caller in this. Jacques in the Val. Good evening.
Good evening. My question I would like to pose to the lady that's from the ANC. You know what I find strange is that the lady from the ANC, or the ANC itself, it keeps on saying it's a liberation movement. It doesn't say, listen, I'm a political party. It says I'm a liberation movement.
Jacques, I'm out of time. 20 seconds, Mr. Water, to respond to that point as I wrap.
Well, the people are their own liberators. We are a motive. We are just an engine. We will do so. We are growing. Unfortunately for the DA, they are only growing in the areas where they've always grown. And I think we mustn't overextend ourselves here. Let us just say this one thing. Punishing Diane Kohle Barnard is as good as punishing the caucus of the DA. So I think they need deep introspection. They need to talk amongst themselves about their core narrative, which is racism.
I have to leave it there. Completely out of time. Thank you very much to all my guests. Of course, moving on now. Don't forget to watch Straight Talk with the National Police Commissioner, Ria Piecha, at 7:30 this coming Sunday. This is for the first time that Ria Piecha has spoken out about the current controversy surrounding her fitness to hold office. So catch on Straight Talk with ANN7 and the New Age Group political editor, Ricky Naidu. You're watching Prime. More after this.